Welcome to another program. I hope you are all well over there and you're healthy with your family and beloveds. Today, we want to cover a topic about the effects of COVID on global poverty. Nowadays, it will be, I believe, become much more important and vital than it was before because Um, indeed, the COVID-19 has been imposing a health threat on the people. But in the short term, and in the long term, it might be the effect. But in the long term, we are now seeing that the economy and the democracy of some of the failed states, including some of the developing states, especially in the sub-Sahara Africa and in Middle East, have been deteriorating uh, greatly. And this is causing a problem especially in relation with domestic violence. And the study of IMF has already showed that they have been expecting a 56% increase compared to pre-academic forecast. Of course, due to the government responses to national lockdowns and the pandemic within, especially sub-Saharan Africa and Middle East. Now, once we are talking about this, of course, I, as a Turk, look at the possible effects of these violences if it happens on Turkey and how Turkey and what Turkey should do in order to help these countries through these pandemic era. So without further delay, let's start. Now, most of the countries in the sub-Saharan African and Middle East regions are experiencing pandemic greatly. Due to the economic effects or the social effects, there are some undesired clashes sometimes between or among the public. Now, the World Bank estimates that the global economy is going to contract by 3% within 2020. It might even increase through the end of or the fourth of 2020. They might even increase this 3% to even 5 to 6%, which I will expect, to be honest. But now, taking the 3% as a reference, this would cause an increase in the global poverty. Now, since 1998, where the Asian financial crisis took place, the global poverty have dropped as of 2019 to 8.2%. Now, according to projections, within 2020, the global poverty will increase to 8.6%, and it means 33 million of the global population will be in the poverty basket. In sum, this will accumulate to 665 million. The World Bank have agreed a minimum limit of poverty with $1.90 per day. Now, at this moment, within 2020, we are expecting 665 million will be earning less than $1.9 per day. And they have been estimating that this 35 million increase will be especially felt within the sub-Saharan African region, including the Middle East. So what we are looking at, the sub-Saharan countries, Mali, Rwanda, and Egypt, even including Libya, Tunis, Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and these kind of especially countries we are now concentrating on. So now let's also come to one of the most important indicators for us is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 of them. And after the Millennium Development Goals, these goals are set up because the Millennium Development Goals are very narrow and they do not cover all the areas. So the Sustainable Development Goals, which the World Bank have agreed, and IMF and everybody, now according to that, they intend to fight with the poverty and other deprivations that goes hand to hand with strategies while improving the health and education, reduce the inequality, and spur the economic growth, as well as tackling with the climate change and other preserving other oceans and or clean water resources and forests. Including the failure within their economy in the fragile or developing countries, because we have been seeing some clashes or social unrest since maybe 10 years. It goes back to even 10 years or 20 years, even 40 years. Now, this pandemic has intensified the social unrest among some of the countries, even including Lebanon. Now, we are seeing in Lebanon, which is one of the richest countries in the Middle East also, and important, they have been now facing with one of the worst financial crises in the decades of Lebanon history. Now, Rwanda, Zambia, Zimbabwe are already fighting with Boko Haram or Al Qaeda, and we are estimating that, we are projecting that this fight against these Islamic terrorists will also intensify. In Syria, Iraq, Libya, there will be even more clashes between the groups. Even for Egypt, which is one of the most richest country within the Northern African, because of the increasing population and all other effects, the World Bank and IMF estimates that a meaningful economic development can be achieved with a 7% GPT increase annually. But they have been estimating that from now on to 2030, beginning of 2030, Egypt can only achieve a 3% average GDP increase annually. So which means that they are going to be poorer each year. Now, since this is the situation, of course, we are expecting a social unrest or clashes among the societies, and even clashes among some of these countries are expected. Now, as Turkey, which is one of the important actor in the region, we have our own interest. Of course, I am not suggesting, and nobody should be suggesting, that Turkey as economically is powerful. It's not. We have been facing maybe a dramatic economic fallout since 2000 financial crisis, 2001 financial crisis. But I am not going to also say that totally Turkey is powerless. Now, there is an institution or an agency where the Turkish international aid has been distributed through the President Office. Now, this is called TİKA, and it is in English called the Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency. It has been provided in line with the statutory decree on the organization and duties that has been connected directly to the President's Office. Now, TİKA has been providing and has been increasing the aid, especially since 2014, 2012. In 2014, it was the amount of the aid has been provided like 3.5 billion. In 2016, it has been reached to 6.5 billion. 2018-19 is 8.4 billion. For the economic size of Turkey, of course, it is a big amount. Now, the World Bank has set up a limit or a coefficient, I will say, which is 0.7%. This has been based on the ODA divided by the GNP. GNP is the gross national products, and ODA is the official development aid. So the official development aid is 8.4 billion, and GNP, it changed from one country to another. For Turkey, it is 0.76 since 2018, and it has been also increasing. Now, for United States, which among all the countries, OECD countries, it is the top donor with 35 billion per annum, per year, last year. It is 0.3% because the United States says, I am giving already the most one. What do you want from me? Give everything to. So, of course, there is a confusion or a dilemma about this. But in amount, United States is the highest amount as a donor. In terms of percent, Turkey is one of the top in the list. So Turkey has been contributing to these aid programs as much as it can. That's what you should also be aware of. Of course, I am not saying that Turkey should be doing this, because Turkey's economy is also facing with a dramatic change at this moment due to especially the pandemic, including the other lack of reforms, what we should be doing now. Now, at first we have to understand this. The pandemic effects will go alone in a decade. It will not end in a couple of years. Let me give you or illustrate you with an example. What I said is 665 million as a number of people in the poverty basket. This is the number in 2017. So in 1 year, due to the effect of the pandemic, the number of people within the poverty trash has been increased by 0.4%, from 8.2% to 8.6%. From 2019 level, it goes back to 2017 years, which means it's a 3 years effect. The 1 year COVID effect is 3 years COVID effect. 3 year achievement of reducing the poverty. Now, once we consider that there will be no V shape of recovery due to the pandemic, of course, the recovery of this poverty, it will take time. Because at this moment, all the countries, especially the OECD donor countries, we call them DAC, they will decrease the number of amount of the aid that will be spared for aid programs. Therefore, what it should be done? First of all, Turkey has to understand that they have been or it has been doing something wrong. First of all, we have to also implement structural reforms to our economic activities, which means that we have to increase or rectify our errors within the democracy and other institutions. We have to let the institutions to work freely, because once the institutions work freely, they will protect the interests of the nation greatly. In lack of the freedom within the institutions will act reluctantly. Therefore, we have to do these kind of reforms. This is what, in terms of democracy and other structural reforms, Turkey has to follow. Secondly, and it will take some time, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. When it comes to the separation or distribution of aid, we have to now be a little bit, we have to choose the countries, I will say, carefully. Turkey has been helping, especially countries, the top 5 countries is Albania, Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq, and Libya. Now, these countries are chosen due to the reasons of either bilateral relations or historical relations and or economic activities. Turkey has been helping also in Rwanda, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Niger, and some other countries, also Ethiopia, Somalia. Somalia is also, Syria, Somalia, Kyrgyzstan, Albania, and Afghanistan are the top 5 countries. So once we are looking at this, there are some reasons for that. So in order to secure the national security, including also the trade security, Turkey has to choose these carefully, these countries carefully, and tackle all these challenges individually. TICA has departments based on the continents, I think 5 of them. And of course, they are doing their best to overcome all these challenges. Now, we have to say that these challenges cannot be solved easily. However, we have to also keep in our mind that the recovery, the global recovery, will not take place in 2 years' time or 3 years' time. It will take in a longer time, maybe a decade. Therefore, Turkey has to do all the economic reforms in order to protect its influence and if possible, increase its influence in the Middle East, including Sub-Saharan and the Northern Africa regions. And moreover, during this time, we have to choose the countries that we are going to target and providing aid carefully in order to maintain our security and or trade activities. I hope you like this video. If you like, there's a like button underneath. Please press on it. And if you also subscribe to our channel, next time you are going to be notified. Thank you for watching, and whatever you are doing, please stay safe, be safe. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. If you have, by the way, any questions, please write me privately. I will answer them. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.